Hey y'all, it's Megan. We're down here at the hayfield. Just got up, what, 60 something bales of hay.
On there, I think.
Yeah. Little man got to drive the truck for the first time. His legs is finally long enough.
62.
Any of my followers remember that's the first time you ever drove a truck was in the hayfield? It was one of my first times when I was little. But that's not what this video is about. It's not about hay today. Down here where we do this hay, there's a really old homestead here, and I'm gonna walk around and just kind of show it to you, but we may have to get a little washed off down here in this creek first.
First we're gonna go down the creek and take a bath.
Come on, sis. You getting you some water?
Are you gonna go down to the creek? I'll pay the water.
We'll see.
I don't think I can even get down there. I don't think I can even get down there.
Step on that root. Probably not the best place to come down.
Yeah, what if it breaks? Jump down. Get me down, because I won't get in the creek. Right, Daddy?
All right, so down here in this area we're gonna be showing you this evening is some old family land. And a funny story, Andy's great uncle had an airplane. He built a building for it and everything. Well, this right here is what's left of that homemade airplane. He drove it one time and wrecked it.
Yeah, it was like a kit airplane you put together in a kit. And I mean, this was back in a long time ago, like late 60s probably, maybe even longer than that. And this bottom up here, he built that little building up here, which we'll show you in a second, to keep the airplane in. And when he went to fly it the first time, he made it no farther than the upper end of this bottom up here and went back down in the woods. Didn't get hurt or anything, but a lot of people made fun of him because, you know, he had this big dream that he was going to fly an airplane, and, well, it didn't work out too good for him. But I didn't even realize that it was down here on the creek. And apparently, what best I can figure, a part of it was still up there under the shed, and I actually got rid of it for scrap metal. But that part right there, I guess, was just sitting, I'm assuming was probably sitting in the edge of the field, and it's been there so long that the creek bank has washed away and has moved it, and now it's actually almost in the creek. But this right here is one of the...
right there, if the other part was up at the building.
I don't know.
Maybe it broke apart when he fell.
But this is one of the nicest things about this whole place over here is this creek. This is a fairly big creek. And, you know, it's deep right here. But on up through there, it's real rocky all the way up through. And it's beautiful. But it's kind of hard to get around down here right now where everything's growed up where it's summertime.
Megan will probably need a footage to get right there.
But, yeah, it's just beautiful down here. Right here is the creek we were in. You can see it's just right past this growed up brush. That piece of that airplane was laying right over there. But if you look over here, this is the building that we've got hay under. This is what he actually built to put the airplane under. And he had the little tower on the side of it that had the flag flying to show what the wind direction was blowing. And from what I've been told, now, of course, I wasn't alive back then to know, but just what I've been told is he went right up this bottom right here, and when he turned that curve, he went down. And that's as far as he made it. They said he didn't make it far at all. And, I mean, that was a story that, like, everybody around here knew. You could ask anybody who'd been around here since then knew about the guy who tried to fly the airplane out of the Blackhead place. Now, this is the nickname for this place. It's called the Blackhead place. And I just found out, like, at the beginning of this year why it was called the Blackhead place. We didn't know. We thought maybe some people who used to own it many years ago, whose last name might have been Blackhead or something. We just had no clue why it was called that. Well, my grandpa's sister is the one that owns this place now, and I was talking to her, and she said that the reason it was called the Blackhead place because there used to be a man that lived in this house right up here. Now, her family still owned it then, but I'm assuming maybe he was renting a house or something. But he lived in this house, and he had black hair. And so they called it the Blackhead place. I mean, how simple. We never assumed anything like that.
I even tried to look up the last name Blackhead and couldn't find anything.
Now, as far as if we, let's see, my grandpa's sister's son has done like a history check or whatever you call that on this place. And he's told me that the best he can tell is this place has been in the family since the 1700s.
That's
you know,
old.
I don't never remember anybody ever living over here. Mama says that she remembers somebody back over here living, and that would have been like in the early 70s, living in this house. But yeah, I've never known anybody to live over here. My grandpa tended this land the whole time I was a kid, and all of this was in tobacco. And well, I think he planted a little bit of everything, tobacco and corn, and then later on in life he sowed it all in grass and had cows over here. But we're gonna go up here and start off by showing you the house.
So we walked up here to this house. Nobody knows that we've talked to how old this house is. But we're gonna show you some features that are around it that shows that, I mean, it had to have been at least the 1800s.
I'd say at least late 1800s. It was built back when lumber was actually being sawn, because, you know.
Right, because of the siding.
Yeah, and inside it's got milled lumber, which was done on an old circle mill. You know, it's old lumber, but it's not a log cabin or anything. So I'm assuming that it's probably late 1800s, early 1900s maybe. So y'all, I'm standing on the porch, and I would go in, but hang on, if the camera will focus, right there we go. You see the old fireplace over there with the mantle, and right over there in the corner is the stairwell that goes up to the upstairs, which is up there. Now, when I was a kid, I actually used to play in this house a lot, but since then, see over there in the corner, it's rotten. But it's been pieced together for a while. But just look at that mantle on that fireplace, and that rock fireplace. But anyways, would go in it, but I'm kind of scared. Well, for one thing, you got a big old bee's nest right there as soon as I open the door. But anyways, we're going to walk around and show you the rest of the house.
So I'm standing on the front porch right now. As you can see, it's fell down right there. But could you imagine living back here? We're probably a mile off the road, maybe a little less. And this being your farm, and you're overlooking your farm here. There's no noise, there's no nothing. There's some more fields back over in here. It's just very peaceful. So underneath, of course, is rock. Creek rocks. The house is sitting on rock. See there? There's an old busted blue ball jar right there. So somebody must have been doing something with some jars. This house is surrounded by walnut trees. So I don't know if they planted them, if they all came up, but I mean, it's just circled in walnut trees.
Well, I'll be some walnuts laying on the ground, but I'm not seeing them. You can look inside this window, and there's another rock fireplace.
Right there. It's got that mantle over it. You can kind of see upstairs.
Hey, so there's one thing right here I want to point out, is how good a shape this rock chimney's still in. Like, this thing, I'm pretty sure could probably still be used if you were to build a fire in this fireplace. But right around here, I guess at some point in time, I'm not even sure what it would have been for, because there's not a fireplace inside or anything at this point. Maybe they had a wood stove or something in there, but they've got a brick chimney that comes out the roof of the house. And look at how bad it's already falling apart. But yet these rocks are stacked so good that everything is still tight. Still looks good.
And the way it's shaped, where they had to shape them rocks and find the perfect rocks to make it shaped like that so that chimney would draw.
Yep. And I would about bet that every one of those rocks come out of this creek right here.
I'm gonna get you a little close up and show you. They've even got little tiny rocks crammed in there. Big rocks, little tiny rocks. I mean, it's put together like a perfect puzzle.
Then on this side, they've got like a little room right here. I'm not sure what this would have been, but it's not, you can't get to it from inside the house. It's from the, access is only from outside. So I'm not sure exactly what that would have been.
There's another busted jar.
Yeah, I see the top one.
Yep. So I don't know. Y'all tell us in the comments what y'all think this little tiny room right here on the side would have been for, with no indoor access. Maybe it was some kind of storage. I'm not sure.
And then this is just another little porch area. And then right here is the chimney to the fireplace I showed you at the first. And I mean, and look at that. I mean, this chimney will be standing long after this house is gone. And I mean, it's perfect. That took time right there.
And this one's huge. It's way bigger than the one on the other side.
That took time.
So you can see they started with huge rocks down here and worked their way up. And y'all can see the red mud chinking that this was put together with.
So next we'll walk over here to this little log building that we're not exactly sure what might have been used for.
Also, y'all, I about broke my neck. I don't know if you could tell it in the video when I was showing that chimney. But there's a hole right here.
Right
see
here.
Andy standing in it. So
probably not a smart idea standing in it.
that was a hand dug well that fed this house that they ended up filling in. But that's what was in that hole.
Right here's the top to the well cap if you wanted to show that. We pushed it out of the way with a tractor. But this used to be over top of that hole, and down in that was where the well was.
So this is another side view. The hay and the truck is behind us. So this is what it looks like from this side. Now, I'm going to say these barns right here may just be older than this house. You think?
They may be. I don't know.
Because some of these logs are hand-hewn logs.
And this barn here's got an upstairs that were like a loft in it. And then it did have a floor, which it doesn't anymore. But this building right here is actually the best, in best shape of all the ones over here. This building could actually be saved if somebody would do it. But I would say that at one time, this probably used to be, you know what, this could have been a cabin. I've never thought about it, but it could have been just a small cabin somebody lived in. Downstairs and upstairs, but it didn't have no fireplace or anything. I don't know. Maybe it was like their meat house where they kept their meat.
Maybe it was a freezer.
It could be a freezer. They didn't. I mean, I don't think it was like a corn crib or anything like that. It's too big for a corn crib.
I'm going to show y'all inside here.
Spider web with a giant spider.
But see, it's got a loft up there. It's got this big board that goes across here.
There's a hole over there. There's a hole cut out in the logs right there. I'm seeing it now.
Where?
But you can see the axe marks on this hand-hewn log going all the way across right there.
What's your Max? There's a giant spider.
And on these. That's why I'm saying I wonder if these barns are not older than that house.
The floor is teared up.
Did you say there's a hole over here?
Yeah, right there. There's one log cut out.
Reckon it was rotten?
No, it looks like they cut it out and had an opening there sometime.
So y'all tell us in the comments what you think this was. So that hole looks as old as this barn. And somebody at one time put a plank over it. But wonder what that opening was for. I wonder what this even was.
Maybe it was just a giant poison.
Well, Andy, this board right here, that's a different board. It was cut out down farther.
I seen that. I don't know what would have been.
So I don't know if that was maybe a animal barn. Who knows?
No, I don't think it would have been an animal barn. It wouldn't have had a floor in it, I don't think. So, back up behind us here, there's a small stream that runs into that big creek we were just at. But right by that small stream comes out of what used to be a pond that's right up here. Now it's growed up there right now too. Maybe over the winter we can take you up there. But the dam busted on that pond. But it used to be a pretty big pond. And if you go all the way back up, there's a beautiful waterfall up here on this creek. So maybe we'll take y'all up there and show you that too. But when everything dies back, we're not going to go up there today because it's thick up in them woods.
And what if there's snakes?
So the next building we'll show you is the tobacco barn.
The first was an animal barn that was just I'm not going in there.
So is this a barn y'all used, Andy?
No, I never remember Grandpa using this barn. This barn is actually unique. This is the only tobacco barn I've ever seen made like this one. And what I mean by that is it's got a basement under it. Most tobacco barns were just top half and then you took it back to a pack house. So what they would do, in case you don't know, like with this flue cured tobacco, you would hang it in a barn and then heat the barn with wood to cure it. And then once it got cured, you would take it back to a what we called a pack house, and you would pack it in the basement of that pack house to bring it in order to where it wasn't crunchy. You would want it kind of soft. And then what it would do is, being down in the basement where it's damp down there, it would soak up that moisture and make the tobacco soft. And that's how you wanted it when you sold it. Well, this is the only tobacco barn, which maybe this is just a really old tobacco barn and that's the reason it's done that way. But this is the only tobacco barn I've ever saw that had the basement to pack it in under the barn.
How do you know it's the basement?
It's built back into this bank right here. So on the front side, there's a door that goes into the basement. But
Then it's got this story up here too.
that's what I was going to show them, the tier poles in here where they used to hang.
All right, here.
You know what? I may be wrong. Maybe this wasn't a tobacco barn.
Wow.
Because them's not tier poles.
What are they?
Well, y'all, we've looked around this place 100 times, but now that we're showing y'all, we're kind of noticing some stuff that we've never noticed before.
I think I am wrong. I've been wrong this whole time. This is not a tobacco barn.
What is it?
So,
I've thought. Let me have a camera so I can show them what I'm talking about.
I want to watch that video so
I've thought all my life that these right here were the tier poles, which is what they would have hung the tobacco on when it was on a stick. But that's not. That's the floor into to where a loft used to be, and right there's a ladder that goes up to it. Check that out. I'm telling y'all,
maybe it was a hay barn.
I've been over here all my life, and I've never even really paid attention to this barn because it's really grown up around this barn. So you really don't. I don't know. You just don't think about it when you come over here. And this is probably the farthest end of this barn I've ever been. But right here's the floor, and you can still see some old hay right over there in the corner. But
Maybe it was a hay barn.
that's pretty cool. Well, I just learned something, y'all. No, I don't think this was a house. I think this was a legit barn, and I believe they stored the hay up there in the top. And that's why you see up there. Where's it at? There it is. That's the door I bet they threw the hay in and out of. We'll walk around to the other side and show them the basement. Now, I'm not sure why it had a basement in it, though.
Maybe it was a house.
I don't think it was a house. It don't have no fireplace or anything in it.
Well, that's true. And this window's offset. That's very interesting to me. My OCD just kicked in.
Let's walk around to the front side and we'll look under it.
Hey, Mama, I see a roof. I see a rope to hold the hay up there.
Right there?
Yeah.
That's poison oak, baby. You don't want to grab that rope. But see, like he said, it's real growed up around it, so.
Dang. Oh, I see the basement. Mama, that basement was powered.
No, baby. So, I mean, if this place was ours, which, like we said, it's not, it's just family owned, we would probably do some work to keep these buildings up, you know, to each their own. But right now, we just walk around and enjoy the scenery.
Step back here and show them just how growed up it is around this barn so it don't make me look crazy thinking it's been a tobacco barn my whole life. And y'all, this barn has been this growed up around ever since I was Jacob's age.
Yeah, the barn's up in here.
Yeah, the barn is in there. And it has been this thick around this barn my whole life. So I guess I've just never really paid much attention. I don't know. I always assumed being a log barn like this because all the log barns you see around here were tobacco barns. I just assumed it was a tobacco barn. So I apologize in advance for what I said earlier.
Right here.
So y'all, maybe this is why I thought it was a tobacco barn. Because I thought I remembered some tier poles in here somewhere. I bet they used to hang tobacco under this barn, and everything is settled now. You used to be able to walk under here, but everything is settled. I mean, it's probably not the brightest idea to be standing where I'm at right now. But, see those tier poles right, well, those poles right there, what they would do is run the tobacco sticks across those poles like this, and they would hang on them. And I guarantee that's what that used to be. But, so maybe this was a log pack house. And that's possible. Because I do know that those...
Show them the axe marks in them woods right there.
Right up there.
Yeah. They're very obvious.
Yeah. I do know that the 3 tobacco barns down at Daddy's house came from over here. They moved them from over here to over there. So maybe the tobacco barns that used to be over here are over there now. And this was just a log pack house. I'm not really sure. And the reason I'm assuming that it's something to do with tobacco, y'all, is because that's how everybody lived around here back in the days. I mean, everybody had tobacco. That was their source of income. There's literally, you can't go a quarter mile down the road and not see an old log tobacco barn. I mean, everybody raised tobacco around here. So you automatically assume, because like you don't really see old dairy barns and stuff like that in our area because nobody done it. We were in tobacco country. We're actually in the heart of it. They used to pay extra for that Stokes County tobacco. I can remember when I was a kid, when you had tobacco that come out of Stokes County, especially on the northern half of Stokes County, because we had this red clay. I don't know what the difference was, but they said that was the top-notch tobacco, that was the high-dollar tobacco, and they paid extra for it. And, of course, it's not like that now, but that's how it was back back in the day. Now, this little barn right here, I know was an animal barn. It's got stalls in it. We can't get up in there to it because I've got some hay crammed up under this shelter here, and it's really about to fall. But there's actually 2 stalls here. You can probably slip in there and see the doors to them, Meagan.
I could barely.
Here we go. See, all this corner's been knocked out, but there used to be a stall door right there. And right there's an old stall. But this barn here is logged too. I'm going to say that the original purpose for this barn is where they kept their mules to pull the plows with for when they were working tobacco. They may have had a milk cow or something, you know, over here. But in the later years, this was my grandpa's cow barn, and this is where he fed at and everything. But anyways, that's it for that building. Yeah, I think Grandpa may have built that shelter that's across there, but the actual barn itself is old, very old. But one thing I want to point out, y'all, is this whole time we've been over here, like, you don't hear cars, you don't hear nothing. In that direction, it's probably a mile to a road. That direction is a mile to a road. Behind us here, can't really tell it here, but there's a pretty big mountain back here behind us. And in that direction too, it's a pretty big mountain that goes up that way. So we're kind of down here in this holler, and yeah, they say there's an Indian graveyard somewhere up here at the top of this mountain. But anyways, y'all, it is just peaceful down here.
And I'll show you, I mean, just imagine you're living in the house that's over here. The house is right there. I guess their animals are right here. They'd walk over here, do what they need to do with their animals. Probably had a garden back up in here or out here somewhere.
If I had to guess, I'd say their garden was in that little field right beside the house.
Probably. And, you know, they probably just lived down here and took care of themselves and didn't bother nobody.
Now, there is one interesting fact, though. You know, around here, there's a lot of old road beds and what we call wagon roads. And the road that comes in this place and runs all the way through, crosses the creek here, and then you can see where it goes up in the woods, and you can tell it's an old road bed. Well, they said that back in the 1800s that was like a wagon road that come through here. But even then, with you having a road running right by your house, I mean, just how many people is going to be in this, well, especially in our area, in the 1900s? I mean, there might have seen one a week come through. But, yeah, it's nice back in here.
And like he said, we hope to bring you back over here maybe early spring. I found some stuff, you know, in these woods that I haven't found anywhere else. But it gets so thick and growed up, we don't really like to go through there in the summertime. But it's a beautiful walk up on the side of that mountain over there.
Once you go all the way to the very top of that mountain, when the leaves are off the trees, you can see back, and you can see all of Sartown Mountain, you can see Pilot Mountain, you can see, of course, I know half of y'all probably don't know where I'm talking about here, but you can see Hanging Rock and everything, and you can see the whole mountain range that runs that way. And it's beautiful up there too, but the leaves have to be off the trees to see that. But
so like in the wintertime?
In the wintertime, yeah.
And I'm going to take you back here and show you one more thing. You can tell this building was shaped for an airplane. Back to the airplane story. He built this building specifically for that airplane that he flew one time. But you can see the back of it comes out, and then the two wings come out on this side.
You tell them about that being an airplane building. So best I can figure it, where she just showed you that back coming out, I think where it was like a kit plane, the wings, you would just unhook them and they would fold up on the plane. So they would pull it in long ways and it would go up into that deep part. Which I don't guess they ever really had to worry about that much, because they only parked it under there one time and he flew it and it was over with.
It makes a good hay barn.
Oh yeah, it's a wonderful hay barn. Grandpa used to use it. I think he fed cows under this barn too. But this barn's not near as old as the rest of this stuff over here. I mean, this, like I said, was built later on, and just for that airplane, really.
Well, why did it have these two parts?
Just for extra storage, I guess.
I've never seen a kit airplane. Oh, I know I was going to be done for videos.
In a little bit.
I guess that's about it for this video. Ain't a whole lot more to show until everything dies back.
So I hope you enjoyed this video today. It's something a little different than what we normally do, but this is one of our favorite places around here. We're only like 2 minutes from our house, right? I mean, we ain't far.
On a tractor, it's more like 10 minutes. Yeah. But we drive the tractor over here. We don't have to worry about hauling anything.
Yeah, so we're real close to the house. But we really, really love it over here, and we're thankful that his great aunt does let us come down here and cut this hay
and still use it.
Still use it. So
she pretty much tells us to use it like it's ours. But just one more quick thing here. Up at the upper end of this bottom here, like I said, Grandpa used to have all this in the back, and I pretty much grew up right up there playing. Back then, the grass wasn't here. This was field, plowed field. And it was real sandy up there at the upper end. And that's pretty much where I grew up. While he was over here working in the back, I stayed over there playing in that sandy spot. And it was kind of like I had me a really big sandbox. And, I mean, I was over here every single day with him. But yep, it's just somewhere that, I don't know, both of us just love it over here, really. It's hard to find places like this anymore where you don't hear cars. I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, you get far enough back and you're far enough away from everybody else that you don't hear anything. And around here, there's houses getting built everywhere, and they're on top of each other. And,
Especially at the beach.
We're not talking about the beach. And, it's just, I mean, I guess everybody's wanting to get away to the country, but the people are moving in here, and before long, it's not going to be the country anymore. And it's getting rare to find a place like this. So I hope they hang on to it for a long time, and we'll just keep our fingers crossed that nothing ever happens to it. But it's nice to have those spots where you can go, and really, there's not even that great a cell phone service over here either. So you can almost like get away from everything when you're over here. But anyways.
well, that's it for today. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more stuff like this, there's a few other old places we could wander around and show you. So just let us know in the comments. I love to hear from you anyway, so remember to comment under the video, good, bad. I love to hear from you. So anyways, till next time. Yes, baby. You gotta be careful so I don't knock all this hay off.